Galaxy Fighter. This lesson is called the particle systems. A particle system is a computer graphics technique that simulates phenomena like explosions, fire, smoke, and so on. A particle system's behavior is controlled by an emitter. The emitter is defined by a set of particle behavior parameters. These parameters include the number of particles, velocity, lifetime, color, etc. Particle systems can be created and modified by tools such as Particle Designer, Particle Creator, and others. In our lesson, we will use Particle Designer. This is the icon of Particle Designer. On the Particle Designer's homepage, you can find a nice tutorial describing the program. You should watch that tutorial before watching this tutorial, because it goes into much greater detail. I will not repeat what is said there. Rather, I will show you how I use Particle Designer to create particle effects. In this tutorial, we will create two particle effects, one called Big Explosion and one called Small Explosion. Observe that the particle effect consists of two files, a plist and a PNG file. Let's go to Particle Designer and see how to use it. We are inside Particle Designer. We have an empty folder on our desktop called Particles. And our task is to create two explosions, a big explosion and a small explosion, and to put them in this folder. Let's go to Particle Designer and find a suitable starting point for our big explosion. Here is one called Exploding Ring that we might use. Let's click on it and see how it looks. Let's tweak it somewhat by clicking on Emitter Config button in the upper right corner. Here are a lot of parameters that we can tweak. Since our effect looked okay to begin with, we will not change much here. Let's start by checking emitter loop and then click on the play button, so we can continuously see it play. Go to iPhone screen and click where you want to see the particle effect. Now let's ask ourselves, how do we want to change the effect? Maybe make the ring somewhat bigger and also make the particles a little smaller. We can make the ring bigger by changing the speed to about 500. We make the particles a little smaller by changing the start size to about 20. And the start variance likewise. The effect looks okay, so let's save it. Click on the Save button. Navigate to the particle folder. Give it a name. Let's call it Big Explosion. Copy that. Use Cocos 2D plist. Click away Embed Texture. And the texture name will be the same as the plist, Big Explosion. Save. And we can see inside our folder that we have the big explosion. Let's also make a small explosion. Let's go back to shared emitters. Find something suitable. Here we have something called explosion. Let's look at it. Yes, it looks like we could use it. So let's tweak it a little. click on Emitter Config button in the upper right corner. Check the emitter loop and then click on the play button. Go to iPhone screen and click where you want to see the particle effect. Now let's ask ourselves, how do we want to change the effect? Maybe make the particles a little smaller. Change the start size to about 10. And the start variance likewise. The effect looks okay now, so let's save it. Click on the Save button. Navigate to Particle folder. Give it a name. Let's call it Small Explosion. Copy that. Use Cocos 2D plist. Click away the embed texture. And the texture name will be the same as the plist. Small Explosion. Save. And we can see inside our folder that we have the small explosion as well. That concludes this lesson. In the upcoming lessons, we will see how to use these particle effect files.